looking at my odds logic live odds screen, I'm seeing Denver -4 at a lot of books right now. Total in this game, 240.5. And the home team won and covered both meetings last year. The home team won and covered both meetings in 2023. That being said, the road team won and covered the 4 meetings before that. So I wouldn't put too much into that. But it's worth noting in the last 4 meetings over the last 2 years where the home teams won and covered them all 4 of those games did stay under the total. Both teams have faced fairly significant injury concerns all year. Both teams are pretty much healthy right now. Denver's in the first of back-to-backs. They're at Detroit tomorrow. The Bucks don't play again until Dallas on Saturday. And Lawrence, in your intro, you talked about how hot Denver has been. And they have been good in recent weeks, but you got to put an asterisk on that. They spent the 3 weeks before the All-Star break. They went on an 8-game winning streak, and then Charlotte immediately following the All-Star break. All 9 of those games came against teams with a losing record. All lottery-bound teams. So it wasn't like Denver was stepping up and beating quality foes. The schedule just broke right for the Nuggets at that time. They were able to take care of business against lesser opponents. And we saw what happened when they stepped up in class. They got blown out at home by the Lakers. Now, they did bounce back nicely. You talked about the double-digit win at Indiana. They're 10-1 straight up last 11, but a more modest 7-4 ATS since that, during that span. So, they've been winning some games without covering the number. From a rest standpoint, they're in good shape. 2 full days off since their last game. They only played 3 previous games since the All-Star break. Mike Malone, we knew this road trip was going to be a challenge to respond to a tough home loss to the Lakers. The win in Indiana speaks a lot to our guys' understanding of what time of year it is. There's urgency for Denver and handling their business. Meanwhile, the Bucks, not as rested as Denver. They're playing their 5th game since the break, and they really haven't looked good in any of the last 3. They were lucky to beat the Wizards by 3. And when you're lucky to beat the Wizards by 3, that's not a good sign. Middleton missed a game-tying shot at the buzzer. They positively stole one against Miami. They trailed by 10, 15 the whole game, and then made a huge fourth-quarter run to get the win and cover, a game that did not amuse me very much. And last time out versus the Rockets, they scored only 12 fourth-quarter points and lost. So it's not like the Bucks are clicking on all cylinders right now. From a side standpoint, I don't know what to do with this game. From a total standpoint, however, I got an opinion here. Denver's back-to-back unders the last 2 ball games. Bucks 4-1 to the under the last 5. The quote from Doc Rivers after the loss against Houston, tells you the ball wasn't moving when they couldn't. When the ball's not moving, that could be a problem. The last 4 meetings have all cashed unders, and we're sitting at 240.5 right now. I think that's a little bit high. Under for the Nuggets and the Bucks in a playoff intensity matchup in Milwaukee this evening. Fascinating matchup tonight between the Lakers and the T-Wolves. Both teams in the first of back-to-back. So Lakers staying in LA to face the Clippers tomorrow. The Nuggets play at Utah tomorrow. So both coaches are going to need to manage their minutes. Minnesota blew out the Lakers. Blew them out in 2 meetings in December.
Yeah.
9, and note the scores of these games. 97-87 and 109-80. Now, LA didn't have LeBron for one, but their offense didn't work in either game with or without him. They had Anthony Davis both times. They shot 38% from the floor in the one. The other one, they were 6 of 31 from three-point range. So Minnesota's defense has given LA problems already this year. That being said, the Lakers right now, they're a one-way team for me. All right. The season-long numbers say that this is the number 20 offense in the NBA. When you look at the, like Hollinger's, the offensive efficiency numbers. You look at the last 10 games, the number 20 offense for the season is number 1 in effective field goal percentage. All right. Number 12 defense full season. That's not the way the Lakers are playing defense right now. This team is undervalued based on their season-long statistical categories. And let's not forget, they got Jared Vanderbilt now acclimated. He's been playing for a month now. Dalton Connect is also reacclimated. The trade shock's over. The role players for LA, the complementary pieces, are falling into place. And look, since January 15th, they're 15-4 straight up. And note the losses for the Lakers during this 15-4 span. 1 loss, a flat no-show day before the All-Star break at Utah. Another loss, they were flat out of rhythm the first game after the All-Star break against Charlotte. The third loss, Philly. No Embiid, no Paul George in that game. The games they're losing are the flat spot, step down in class games, not the step-up games versus contenders. Minnesota, man, this is a murderous row schedule. It's like they're in the SEC or something. Last 6 games, 3 against Oklahoma City. They had Cleveland, Houston, and Milwaukee. 2-0 straight up during that span. Hey, that's not too bad. They just covered plus 8.5 and 1 straight up, plus 12.5 against the Thunder. And that was an enormously satisfying win. Remember, they were 25 points down in that ball game and rallied back to win an OT. Hell, they were down 16 with less than 4 minutes to play. It was a true miracle win. And again, it wasn't a great shooting night, 45% shooting, 9 of 32 from three-point range, just 20% from the floor. But I do have concerns here. I don't like this quote from Chris Finch coming off that game. Remember, they're playing without Julius Randle. They're playing without Rudy Gobert. They're playing without Dante DiVincenzo. And Anthony Edwards has been dealing with a calf strain. So Finch's quote, the Western Conference is so tight and we're undermanned right now. We're just trying to stay afloat. Guys are scrapping, giving ourselves a chance. That's what we want. Worth noting, Luka's quote, because LA played Dallas last time out. Are they going to be flat after playing Dallas? Luka, quote, I can't even explain. It was a difference game. Like I said, sometimes I don't know what I was doing. I'm just glad it's over, honestly. I think the Lakers are not going to have a hangover effect from the Dallas game. I worry about their ability to put the biscuit in the basket against Minnesota, but from a spot standpoint, it stands out for LA, and LA is the undervalued commodity in the markets right now. So if I'm playing, I'm laying Lakers or pass for this better.
Yeah, so in this spot here, like you said, Prez, you got a big favorite here in Gomes. He's minus 210. On the other side, you've got Hyder Emil plus 160. Now, this is going to be really a boring fighter versus a very aggressive fighter. You've got Gomes, who's a guy that's going to slow, low pace, low volume type of fighter, wants to lull you into just a slow paced fight. He's going to work on the outside. He's going to look to really, for the most part, dance around the outside and work at range. And the thing about that, when you look at it, is that he doesn't give much for the judges to really judge. I mean, his win margins are very close overall. He's 4-0 in the UFC. 2 wins are by a split decision, which, again, I thought that his last fight against Jordan Brito, I thought he lost that fight. But either way, he got the victory. Now you're looking at Hyder Emil, who is the complete opposite of Gomes, where he's going to come forward, he's going to throw big shots, he's going to look to crash the pocket, he's going to throw everything with 100% power. And really, the part when you're looking at, who can hurt who, a lot of times a guy's going to be a point fighter, work from the outside, and that can work in certain spots. But the more dangerous guy and the finishing upside is going to be on Hyder Emil. Now, you've got Gomes, who's a guy that good technical striker, good at range, wants to point fight. But the best way to really defeat somebody who's just going to low volume and work at range and dance around is high volume and pressure. And that's really exactly how Hyder Emil fights. He crashes the pocket, he moves forward, he throws big volume. And also the part here is that Gomes, extremely, extremely low volume landed shots. He lands 2.5 significant strikes per minute. Well, you've got even Hyder Emil, who lands 6.5 significant strikes per minute. I think he's going to find success there. He's not going to allow Gomes to kind of lull him into a slow-paced fight. He can push forward here. Also, this is going to take place in the Apex cage in Las Vegas. That's less space for Gomes to work his range of striking. Emil can also look for takedowns. Jordan Brito had 3 recently. So I think this line is a little wide here. The more dangerous fighter, the guy with the upside, I think is going to get the job done here. So I do like Hyder Emil at plus 165. Yeah, so you got Danny Silva here. He's minus 218. On the comeback here, you've got Lucas Almeida. He's plus 180. Now, Silva is a guy who's going to push incredible volume. He's really going to have high volume, push forward, land big shots, good movement. Now, most recently, he had a split decision victory over Josh Kulabau. Now, I'm not high on Josh Kulabau, and apparently neither is the UFC. They just cut Josh Kulabau yesterday. But Josh Kulabau found success against Silva. He was landing shots. He was outlanding him. It really took Silva the takedowns and the wrestling to really find any success. And that, to me, is not a good look. But also the biggest red flag on Silva is the fact he's extremely hittable. Now, he pushes out an absurd volume. He lands 8 significant strikes per minute, very high. But yet he still has a negative striking differential. He gets hit over 9 times per minute. Now, that's not a good look here overall, because you got a guy that's going to be landing shots, moving forward, but he just has terrible defense. He moves forward. He literally blocks punches with his face. There's just not much that he really does when you're talking about defensively, and he allows opponents to land. And rule about with landing, I do believe somebody like Lucas Almeida, who is an absolute hard hitter, who has solid Muay Thai, pieces his combinations very well together. And this is going to be like a volume striker versus a power striker in this spot. More impactful shots, I think, are going to come from Almeida as well. And Silva is going to be there to be hit. He's, again, the willingness is there. He could look to maybe out volume Almeida, but I really think that the more impactful shots are going to be on the Almeida side. And also the fact that this, to me, is really a 50-50 fight. This is one of those ones where, yeah, maybe Silva a slight favorite here, but this blown out, I think there's going to be two guys that are going to brawl, they make a lot of mistakes. They've got flaws, and that just brings a lot of variance to a fight like this. So I do like Lucas Almeida at plus 180. I think it's a really good price on a volatile type of fight.
Yeah, so here's what's going on at this course. Normally there's wind, and the wind is the big defense on this course. There is no wind today, and the scores are really, really low. Like, I can't believe some of these scores. I mean, shooting minus 12. There's lots of guys at minus 8, minus 7. Here's the thing, Prez. When the books see this, they just lower everyone's individual round score without taking anything into account. They just see that everyone else is going really low. So I'm going to take Ben Griffin, who tees off here in about 30, 40 minutes. I'm actually going to take his over 67.5.
Wow.
They opened all of these. They opened all these scores at 69.5. So now all of a sudden, just because some guys played really good in the morning, everyone gets lowered to 67.5. Here's the thing. Ben Griffin played here last year. He shot 71 and 72, and he missed the cut. So he it's not like he plays well here. And here's the other thing. He played well last week in Mexico. That's a super easy course. Before that, he had 15 rounds of 68 or higher. This is not a guy that goes like super low all the time. I think this is too big of an overreaction. Ben Griffin he's a decent golfer for PGA Tour, like standards, but to have him go 4 under, I don't know, man. This seems pretty ambitious. I think the books just lowered the number just because of some things that some other golfers are doing. Taking his over. Yeah, he's really picked it up, and we're going to take his over 1.5 shots on goal. You said it. He kind of goes in spurts on these props. Like, he'll go like 3 or 4 games where he goes under, and then he'll go on one of these hot runs. And I think we were getting him on a hot run here. This is a guy who is averaging 3.6 shot attempts per game the last 10. He's gone over this in 9 out of the last 10 games. He's playing St. Louis. They're middle of the road in defending shots on goal. They give up 28.5 per game. Here's the other nice thing, Prez. This was earlier this season. This was last season. This was 2 seasons ago. He's gone over in 4 straight games against St. Louis. So this is a prop that checks all the boxes. It's about minus 150. And when you get someone like Dylan Strom, like you said, he's one of those like momentum guys. When you catch a guy like this that's on a roll, you just keep playing him until the wheels come off. So we'll take Dylan Strom over 1.5 shots on goal. Well, we're going to go back to Contavious Caldwell-Pope under made threes. It's 1.5, and we're going to take his under. So first up, Prez, he plays for the Magic, who's one of the worst, if not the worst, three-point shooting team in the NBA. He's gone under this in 14 out of the last 20 games, 8 straight. He's only attempting 3 3-point attempts per game, and he's shooting a miserable 32.5% from threes for the season. You lower that to the last 10 games, he's shooting like 20%. Prez, we played this. This was a client play earlier this week. He hit a 3-pointer 2 minutes into the game, and then he didn't even attempt one the rest of the game. So we cashed this one as long as the books leave this at 1.5. He's not getting the volume. He's not that accurate. I'll take Caldwell-Pope under 1.5 made threes.
We got a lot of NHL games on tap for tonight. I'm going to go through every single game on the board. And we're going to start with the Edmonton Oilers playing the Florida Panthers. And I like Edmonton tonight, plus 125. They're a live dog. They've lost 4 games in a row. This is the time I want to bet a team like Edmonton. Now, they did not make my client card, but I will tell you this. If Edmonton wins tonight, they are going to be a bet for my clients the next game out. That is for sure. I'm waiting for them to get off the snide, and then I think they're going to go on a nice run. This is a bad spot for Florida, and I don't want to be playing against teams as good as Edmonton, Florida, Colorado, Dallas, Toronto, Washington, etc. when they've lost 4 straight games. I don't think Edmonton loses 5 straight games more than twice this entire season. Frankly, more than once this entire season. There's value there. Edmonton plus 125. New York Islanders and Boston, guys. I like the over in this game. I think we're going to see a high-scoring game, and I think it's indicative of the fact that both of these teams are really struggling to keep the puck out of the net. They really both are having a tough time defensively, and both teams should average around 3 goals a game. You can get a 5.5, take the over. Washington playing St. Louis tonight. And look, Washington is coming off of a tough loss against Calgary, and now they are minus 165 against a St. Louis team who's played really well since the break. I lean on Washington in regulation here, guys. I like that they are coming off of a loss and they're still at home. I think there's value there. Detroit and Columbus, I think the over is the play in this game, guys. 6 for a Columbus team. That makes absolutely no sense to me. We just bet the over in Columbus and Detroit a few days ago, Columbus and Dallas a few days ago. We won. Take the over in this game as well. Now we got Carolina off of 2 losses in a row and really bad losses. They looked horrible. Buffalo, conversely, is playing, well, the best they've played in a long, long time. That means they're overvalued in the marketplace and Carolina is undervalued. I want to buy my stocks low. I want to sell them high. Take Carolina in regulation. I like Tampa Bay in regulation here as well, but only slightly. This Tampa Bay Calgary game is an outright pass for me. Montreal is playing San Jose. I like over the total in this game of 6. 2 shitty teams playing against each other. There'll be a lack of intensity on the ice. This total is low. Take over the total is 6. And as for Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, every single Pittsburgh game, take over. I told you that last game. It cashed. Do it again this game. Take over the total. Winnipeg and Nashville. I like the under in this Winnipeg-Nashville game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. We saw a low-scoring game last game that Winnipeg played, and Nashville has been a stone-cold under all year long. 6 on tap, take the under. Take Minnesota plus 163 against Utah. What? That line doesn't even make sense to me. There's value on Minnesota. Vegas against Chicago. Chicago plus 350. I told you guys San Jose plus 1.5 against Winnipeg a few days ago. They covered. I'll tell you the same. Take Chicago plus 1.5 against Vegas. And I like the over in the Anaheim-Vancouver game. That's every game on the board.
I saw sharp money on both on that Emil Gomez fight. I lean Gomez, to be honest with you. But I did see some sharps that jumped on the Emil side. His other one was Almeida over Silva.
Yeah.
Took Almeida as well. That's a juicy dog there. For me, that's a dog or pass spot for sure. That's a good, like, if you're taking dogs like that, you got to remember, like, you got to go in knowing that even when you're running your best, you're going to throw that ticket out more than you're going to cash it. Meaning, even if you're taking a plus 200 where the break even's 33%, you got to think of it this way. Even if I have an edge, a huge edge where he wins, implied win probability should be 40%, not 33, which is huge. A 7% of implied probability in your favor. You got to fire. You got to unload. But you still walk to the window knowing you're going to throw that ticket away 6 out of 10 times. When you're right, you're going to throw that away 6 out of 10 times. I know that's hard. Like, that's the disconnect for most recreational bettors. Like, how can that be? How can it be a good bet that loses? Well, because it should lose only 6 out of 10 times, and you're getting it as if it's got to lose 6.5 out of 10 times. Again, it's still going to happen. That's going to happen. But you put yourself in a position, if you do it over and over and over again, if you're able to find that inefficiency, your mathematical certainty to turn profit. That's the key when you're betting dogs. That's why money management's so important. Never walk up to the window like you can't lose, because the math is right there in front of you. You take a plus 150 even, which isn't a big dog. They should win 4 out of 10 times. That's the break even. Even there, you have a 5% edge in implied win probability. Let's say you say, no, I think it should be 45% or even more. Let's say you think, no, it should be 50%. It should be even money, not plus 150. Even then, when you're right, you're still going to throw that ticket away 5 out of 10 times. And that's a huge edge of having a 10% difference in implied win probability. So if you take a plus 150 that you think should be even money, you're still, again, going to throw that ticket out 5 out of 10 times. You got to be comfortable with that. If that's the only bet you're placing and never betting again, I don't suggest doing it. But if you're going to be betting today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and I know I sound like a broken record, but this is the key. If you want to be in that 0.5%, not even 1% anymore, Dave Mason let us know it's 0.5% that actually is profitable long-term, having, positive lifetime earnings. You got to approach it that way. So I like betting dogs. I love betting dogs because you don't even have to hit 50% to be profitable. But I do it with the understanding I'm not going to hit 50% and I'll still be profitable. If you could do that, you'll make a lot of money betting, especially money lines in MMA. All right, let's get the glasses on because I don't want to misspeak at all here. Let's go college basketball. Here's a couple plays for you. 802 Oral Roberts, plus 8.5, plus 8. 767 Delaware, plus 8.5, plus 8. 773 Kennesaw State, over 144.5, 145 versus Florida International. Game 770 Monmouth, plus the 1. Let's give you some NBA as well. 527 over 227 in Minnesota, Los Angeles. And finally, 523 over 224, 4.5, and 225 in Charlotte and the Dallas Mavericks. They also took Charlotte plus double digits in that game. Some of the sides in NHL that I'm seeing one-sided. I haven't gotten any sharp money on anything yet, but I'm seeing one-sided recreational bettors. They are all over, and this one sticks out. That's why I want to bring it up. Boston. And it looks like the Islanders got money because I think they opened as a dog. They're now the favorite. But a lot of money coming in on the Boston side, a lot of money coming in on the Philadelphia side, and a lot of money coming in on Nashville. Those are like 3 coin flips or dogs that really shouldn't be the case. Like when I see a minus 180 getting all the money, it should get all the money. A minus 300 getting all the money, it should get all the money. But when you're seeing a plus 110 get all the money, a minus 110 getting all the money, that sticks out to me. You're not going to get rich fading the public at all because you're not getting 11 to 10. It's just the opposite. You got to lay 11 to 10. So you got to overcome that admission price you're paying to place a bet. But it makes you pause a little bit and say, what does everyone love about that game? And why aren't the bookmakers defending themselves? Why are they not forcing them to pay more? Why aren't they enticing the sharp bettors to come in and help alleviate some of that risk by bumping that line up to where it's inefficient? Why are they taking a position? You dig into that, you may uncover some winners. So I'm sharing some of that NHL stuff because I know you love talking NHL action, and nothing really else to report. It's kind of a slow day. College basketball, not a huge board. NBA, not a huge board. But we're approaching the weekend where it is getting busy, and I already fired 3 MMA plays. I'll give you one right now. Montana, a dog, a nice little dog, plus 125 dog. As long as you're getting even money on Montana De La Rosa, you're getting the best of it. She should not be a dog in this spot. She's going to fight for your money. It's female MMA. Highly likely it's going to go to a decision based on this betting line and based on the weight class. With that said, the judges get involved. Anything can happen. But if you're getting even money or better, like my subscribers got, I gave her out as a 4% play at plus 125. I think we're getting the best of it. So just want to share a little MMA for you.